Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is day 5 of 119 days of me daily posting, inspiring you to invest in yourself. Today I'm going to continue the video that I started yesterday, where I'm talking about the top industries in Jamaica that can make you a millionaire. Not easy, but what is easy? Anyways, let's get into the other 5 industries. We have agriculture, construction, logistics, yes, remittances, or and business and the creative. So it's actually 6. But yeah, let's get into those industries right now. I'm gonna start with agriculture. This one is my personal favorite. I grew up in a family of farmers. Yeah, my grandfather was a farmer, my dad is a farmer, and of all of these industries, I honestly see myself in this one the most. Not saying that I wouldn't consider others, but this one would be the one that I would actually consider over every single one of these other fields. When I was younger, I used to go to the farm a lot with my dad, but not for the reason that you think. If anybody can guess what I used to go to the farm for in the comments below, honestly, I think you are my sky angel or something. I don't know, because I'm sure anybody wouldn't be able to guess this. I'm gonna give you 2 seconds to write it in the comments. Okay, I used to go there to kill mosquito and drink jelly water. I'm sure this was not along the lines of what anybody would think. Yes, I used to love kill mosquito. When you look on my hands, they were black like tar, like I was actually fixing a car tire or something. And I would do this every single day. And then as I grew older, I found out that my grandmother's sister, that's your grand aunt, actually used to do the same thing. So it just traveled down the generation to me. I don't know what kind of thing that is to travel to somebody, but it's really true that there's nothing new under the sun. But I used to go there, kill mosquito all the time. So I'm always there and being outside. And even now as I'm older, I love being outside, I love being in nature, and I love just being surrounded by trees and just being everywhere except outside, even though I am mostly inside, to be honest, but I prefer to be outside a lot more. But farming was not that cool back then. It was when I thought of farming, I would think of a old man, poor, pauperized, barely having anything to eat, starving if you must, with his donkey walking, barely can send his kids to school. They live in a little board house with nothing to show. And they're just bottom of the barrel. Like, you would consider anybody as a farmer to just be like bottom of the barrel occupation, nothing serious, looked down on very much. And even to this day, some of those stigmas are still there, but there has been a drastic shift in this industry for sure. It's not just a side hustle, it's not just a poor people thing. A lot of rich people are actually farm owners or own farm. Some of them do farm, some of them buy the farm, whatever. But agribusiness is actually a big deal now than it was before. And I can remember when I went to the salon a year ago or about 2 years ago or so. I was in the nail salon. This lady was beside me getting her nails done. Farmer. She's like, I'm getting my toes done because obviously I have to go to the farm. The next lady beside me was like getting her fingernails done really short, going to the farm. And I've seen people even with tall nails going to the farm. Like, it's not that thing now where it's only for men anymore. Women are actually getting into the field and being prosperous. Like, I know at least 5 people, 5 female, who have made houses out of farming, who have sent their kids to school and are sending their kids to college right now out of farming. So it's not this industry that you look down on, even though actually I was listening to another podcast on Trop. This was the Trop X conference, the one previous one. And there was this guy from Austria Farms. He was talking about his experience because he has a farm. And he said when he just came to Jamaica, he was working in the hotel industry and he saw a shortage. No, he saw a gap, which I'm always telling you guys. We're asking ourselves three questions, right? What are the gaps? What difference can I make? And am I interested? He saw a gap in the supply chain because the hotels were not getting consistent supplies and they were always short on things that they needed to prepare for their guests. So he started a farm and now he supply mostly hotels and so forth. And he said he went to this club or party, one of those, and he went up to some ladies and they were all looking at him, having conversations, and they asked him what he did because they thought he worked at probably one of the big companies in Kingston. And he said he's a farmer, and he said he literally saw their faces just change, like disappointment. And he said he left that club in his BMW, and a lot of those ladies who were disappointed about his career probably took taxi home. So it's just that we look down on things because we probably only classify a good job if you're wearing spike heel or if you're in suit and tie. And those are, even though you're probably not even making as much money as the person who is dirty all day long. But everybody has their preferences, and people just like what they like, and some people preferences will keep them poor for the rest of their lives, and some people are willing to get into the dirt to create the life that they want. And it's just about what you want at the end of the day, because we can look down on something for as long as we feel that we want to look down on it, but until you really kind of take inventory of where you want to go and what you're trying to do and what you're willing to do to get there, nothing about your life will ever change. So to each his own. But this is literally my favorite industry of all of them, and the one that I have the most connection to. If you live in an area, if you're interested in this industry and you live in an area, the first thing you can do is find out what kind of crops grow there. If you don't have land personally that you can grow something on, maybe you can lease a land. You can lease a piece of land and grow crops there. You can grow multiple different crops. You can find out what type of client do you want to serve. If you want to serve market vendors, you want to serve supermarkets, or I don't know if supermarkets in your area sell crops like local produce, or you want to sell it directly to the market, or big supermarkets like Price Mart and those type of places. But find out what they want and find something that you can produce consistently, and invest, do multiple things, see what works, and if whatever is working, you double down on that. Nothing should be beneath you if you're trying to build wealth, but that's just my opinion. All right, moving on, the next industry I'm going to talk about is logistics. Jamaica is actually positioned as the strategically as the global logistics hub because it's really close to the Panama Canal, and it's actually close to the US. It's close to around 150 ports, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just really positioned as a place where it's very attractive to a lot of big companies because they know that now they can have ease to getting their shipments here. They don't have to be worrying about lagging shipments, and there's a lot of different improvement that are happening. There's a lot of different projects that are happening now to even improve the wharves and all of the already existing landscape in terms of shipping and logistics. So that's something that the government is a part of, and they're investing in that millions of dollars. And yeah, it's really a blooming space in the Jamaican landscape. I know personally a few people who went to maritime and who've come out. I didn't even know logistics was a thing when I was in high school. I don't even know how they knew about it, but they did. And even when I was in college, I had the opportunity to add it as a concentration, but I didn't know what it was, and I wasn't particularly interested at the time. But what you don't know, you really don't know. Anyways, this is one of the big deals now in Jamaican space, and as you can see, there's a lot of shipping companies. This is a part of logistics. That's one way to earn. If you don't necessarily want to start a shipping company, because there's a lot of shipping companies here, there are many different ways that you can enter into this space. You can do warehousing, because a lot of people are considering shipping companies, but they don't have anywhere to store the packages. So you could, if you have a space that you're not using, you could start a business in that space to offer warehousing for those shipping companies. You could also even offer courier, because the shipping company owners, they have to figure out transportation to pick up the packages at the wharves or wherever they drop off and to bring them to their area. So you could offer courier service if you want to do that, or act as a brokerage. Like, there are different ways that you can enter into this space. You just have to find gaps and find what you're interested in and how to differentiate yourself. I will not stop repeating that, because it's true. All right, so we talk about logistics and we talked about agriculture. All right, remittances. So this sector, the remittance is basically money that comes into the country through MoneyGram, Western Union. When you send your family money, all of that is considered remittances, right? Entering into this field to earn is a little bit more in depth, because one of the ways that I can think of earning this field is basically to create an app, like, Remitly, tap send. It's not gonna be something that you're just gonna earn money off quickly like that, unless you really come up with a creative idea. Maybe you offer a processing facility for a lot of these already existing processing centers, like the MoneyGram, the Western Union, all of these fields, these companies, and take a cut of the fee. You just have to figure out different creative ways on how you could enter into this, but I think this is probably one of the more challenging ones and not that easy if you're trying to look something that is more straightforward, or something that you don't have to do a lot of research in. Although I really honestly think you have to do a lot of research for anything that you're going to be successful in, so avoiding that probably delays the success a lot longer, which you don't want anyways. So, but yeah, I think that's how you would potentially enter the remittance field. But if that's not for you, if it's for you, you can find a way. If it's not for you, it's just not. And now I'm gonna move on to construction. So the construction industry is really rising with a lot of new developments in Jamaica. A lot of people are building houses, nice houses, and there are a lot of projects that are in Jamaican space. Jamaica, there's currently a building being built right now. When it's completed, I think it's either going to be the tallest building in the Caribbean or one of the tallest buildings in the Caribbean. So a lot of construction, a lot of materials, a lot of growing in this sector. And one of the complaints that I've heard a lot over and over, especially in the construction space, is just a lack of reliable workers. A lot of people are building and want people to come and work on their spaces. There are people not showing up for the work, even though they're getting paid. And I can never understand this, because why do you take the job if you're not going to show up consistently? Why do you take it if you know that this is a project that you have to complete over a period of time and you're just not showing up? It's beyond me. But this is a growing industry. If this is something you're interested in, get skilled. The Art Institute of Jamaica offers training in this field. You can become certified in construction. You can find somebody that's doing it and work alongside them. And this goes for every one of these fields, by the way. But because construction, is a little bit more informal, depending on who you're working with, they can say, just come on the job, and learn. But construction is not just setting down cement, mixing cement and laying block. That's not all there is to the construction field. That's just one part. That's just the building part. That's just one, right? Other parts, you have the architect, which is creating the plan. You're not necessarily building, but you're creating the plan of how the house is going to be built. That's a part of construction. Then you have the plumber. They have to put in all the pipes and make sure that the water is flowing throughout the entire house properly. And when you turn on the pipe, it doesn't spray out in your face. That's a part of construction. Electrician is a part of construction. If the house is not wired properly, it could literally burn down, wasting all of your hard-earned money. That's a part of construction. And all of these skills are certified by art. You also have tiling. That's a part of construction. You have painting. That's a part of construction. So just find the part that you like. You know, when you're in the construction field, you're definitely not going to be doing every single thing. So you find the part that you like and you become skilled at it and you become certified in it, and you take the cap off your income. You can paint and do plumbing. That's two separate income there. I think people just don't want to put the work in to become knowledgeable at something and certified at something and do what it takes in Jamaica particularly. Because when you come to the US or any other country, if you're not working a caregiving role where you're living into a home, you're most likely going to be working two jobs. But you are so willing to come to the US and to other foreign countries and work the two jobs, but you wouldn't do it in Jamaica. Oh, the money is better. But you literally can become so good at what you do so that you can actually command a good salary wherever you go. So if you are not in that mindset in Jamaica, if you can develop that mindset when you come here, that means you can develop it there. You're just choosing not to, which is your choice. I'm just saying, it's just really sad when people are trying to bring down the place that they're from and lifting up somewhere else that they're not from because they just want to do it there and convincing everybody else that nothing is in the place where they come from. All right, before I get too carried away, I just talked about agriculture. I talked about construction, logistics, remittances, and what did I miss? Business. Business could literally be under any one of these fields. Like starting a business, you can start a business in agriculture, in construction, in logistics, in every single one of these fields. But the financial services part of the sector is, you know, the banks, the insurance companies, and so forth, which is a rising industry in Jamaica, especially insurance. You need insurance for everything. You need it for house, you need it for cars, the automobiles, everything. Insurance are practically run Jamaica. Even if you don't use the insurance, you still have to pay the premium every single year and it does not roll over. So one of those jobs in the so becoming an insurance agent, a licensed insurance agent, or even a broker is very profitable. Of course, you have to deal with a lot of headaches because I was working in the insurance industry, car insurance, and I had a lot of headaches. So I definitely know that if you are a person that is low stress tolerance, it's not the field for you, especially on the entrepreneurship side. But you can also work for one of the insurance companies. You know, you keep improving your license, improving your skills, and going up the rank, commanding a higher salary, getting commissions, whichever route you take. It's a lucrative industry and it gives you a lot of exposure and helps you to build a lot of connections with a lot of different people because everybody have to have insurance. The farmer to the prime minister to the bank owner, everybody. So you're building a lot of relationships with different people, which is actually a very good thing in or outside of business. It's just a good life thing. And it's a good way to build relationships if you're not a person who is extroverted. Like, if you're very introverted like me, you're not necessarily going to just go out and just be talking to people randomly. So, that's a very good route. And I also want to go back on the logistic sector a little bit before I move on to the creative economy. Because even if you don't want to start a business in the logistics, you can actually go the career route and get a good 9 to 5, you know. The transport logisticians, they make a good amount of money. And even the logisticians. So you can actually find different 9 to 5s that are in that field that are actually very high paying jobs. And this is just some free business advice that my dad has told me. I've said this so many times on my channel because this will forever live rent-free in my head. And I think as long as I have this platform, I'm always going to say this constantly over and over. My dad said, even though he's been an entrepreneur for 30 plus years now, he said the only thing he wish he would have done differently is have a 9 to 5 while he's building his business. And he always tells me, if you want to do entrepreneurship, do it. But always have a 9 to 5. Have something with a stable income coming in so you can take care of yourself and you don't have to drain the capital from the business. You can have something to even invest in the business and grow it up to the level until it can sustain itself. Then you can start taking from it and decide if you want to go full time or still maintain your 9 to 5. So don't look down on your 9 to 5 because you think it's beneath you. You know, you can do two things can be true at once. And it's better when you have something balancing you and you don't have to drain the business right away to help you to grow to a level. Then you can say, okay, I'm going all in now. All right. So that's just my free business tip of the day. But to move on to the final category, which is the creative economy, this consists of music, films, animations, graphic design, fashion and apparels, and all of it. You know, as I was talking about, like, you have to be interested, right? Not everybody is naturally artistic. Like, if I take up a piece of paper and paint it beside an actual artist, it would not be hard to find out who the real artist is. And I am creative in different ways, but painting and, you know, those type of expressions is not the way that my creativity comes out naturally. I'm just, you know, I know myself now. You know, not when I was in 9th grade, I'm feeling awful about everybody's painting looking good and mine just not. Like, you know, everybody just has different gifts and talents. And if you're somebody who is gifted and talented in that space, this could be a place that you can make money. A lot of business owners don't even know how to design logos, don't know how to design their websites and to do anything graphic design related. So that's a space that you can tap into to bridge that gap to help them get their vision out to the world. You know, if you like to edit, you could edit music videos, you could edit animations and films, you can edit the plays and the dramas pieces that are happening everywhere in the production studios in Jamaica. So you just have to find the thing that you like and find a way to make it the way that you like. All right, and you're gonna see what you look for. So if you don't think opportunities are there, you will never find. But if you think they're there, you'll most likely find. All right, so I think I covered it all, maybe a lot. But yeah, so these are the top industries in Jamaica. And even if I have not mentioned an opportunity, you can comment below something that you think I missed. And also, not just comment it, execute it. Because at the end of the day, everything we put out into the world becomes an inspiration for somebody else. So when we don't put out, we're doing everybody, including ourselves and anybody who's watching us, a disservice of that. So just go put something out, find something that you are interested in, see where the gap lies, and see how you can do it differently. All right, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I am Khrista-Lee Amore. I talk all things investing in you, and I hope this was very informative for you and something that you can implement in your year, this year 2026. All right, and give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Comment below what stood out to you or anything you think it could be beneficial to anybody who watches this video, and they will pass over your comment. All right, and share with a friend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, let's go make some mistakes. Bye.